This is the Dzogchen Sende Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Come, let us explore why experts say meditation changes love, followed by meditate like a Jedi. Let's begin by reciting the opening of the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. The noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, while practicing the deep practice of Prajna Paramita, and that's where we're going to stop for this morning's commentary. Let's tap button 9. So who is this Avalokiteshvara? Well, if you ask someone who is rigid and fearful and superstitious and controlling and elitist and cryptic, competitive and cruel, they'd say they're a Buddha or a Bodhisattva or a celestial entity or the Buddha's mama who needs to be worshipped, that they might protect us from the duality of not getting what we want and enduring what we don't want. However, if we choose to walk a different path, if we choose to walk the path of being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind, then we will simply view Avalokiteshvara as the archetype of love and letting go. Not just of love, but of love and letting go. And this is important. Let us begin with love. Within the context of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, 50% pertains to loving kindness. It was said before the dark days of institutional Buddhism, during the rise of proto-Buddhism, the essence of morality was simply love. What is this source of love? Those on Devadatta's path of being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel insist that we must actively focus and actively analyze. And when doing so exhausts the front of our brain that we begin presenting with symptoms of depression, no less triggering our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Well, then we should just focus on love and analyze love. For surely, we're continuing to work with our exhausted dorsolateral and medial prefrontal cortex will not further cause us to present with even more symptoms of depression, or even more deeply trigger our amygdala, which is, as we've already mentioned, is the seat of anxiety and aggression. Can you see the folly of rigidity and superstition, which will never question the validity of the techniques we are using? When we have the good fortune to be introduced to the path, to the Buddha's path, to Shakyamuni's path of being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind, we will notice our crap results and say, maybe there's a different way. Maybe neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Perhaps we'll have the good fortune to be reminded of our autonomic nervous system, which is, or I should say, the hub of our autonomic nervous system, simply our spinal cord. For when we take a relaxing break from the exhausting habit of actively competing against the hub of our autonomic nervous system, and instead passively cooperate with it, amazing things happen. The aggression and anxiety of our amygdala is calmed, and the empathy of our anterior cingulate gyrus is gently stimulated. Perhaps this is why the late Tulku Thondup insisted that the highest love comes not from focus or analysis, but is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. Remember, when we look back at the Heart of Wisdom Sutra, we do not read that Avalokiteshvara was concentrating on love. Au contraire, we were seeing that he was practicing the wisdom's perfection. And so the inference is that it is the empowered practice of mindfulness and meditation that gives rise to the love that defined this archetype. Let us take a deeper look. We'll begin with mindfulness. Now, the hub of our autonomic nervous system is divided into 3 bits. The top bit, the middle bit, and the lower bit. Let us begin with mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are wired to automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, which could be described as the hub of our sympathetic nervous system. It is evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. The full spectrum, including everything from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. But what are we to do with that which we have noticed? In a word, we'll practice meditation. You see, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we've evolved to effortlessly access both the tippy top as well as the very bottom of that same spinal cord. These 2 regions working as a team are described as the hub of our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release during each exhalation to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful less permanent, less defining, and as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel non-graspable to the hand. What is the source of the highest love? The highest love is the byproduct, the effortless and automatic byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. Now, we talked about that Avalokiteshvara was not just the archetype of love, but the archetype of love and letting go. Because this noticing and relaxing grants us freedom, not from the presence of neurosis, but from its tyranny. Consider the panacea of noticing and relaxing in harmony with our phases of breath. Doing so causes us to automatically notice change and non-graspability. Mindfulness and meditation cause us to automatically experience all forms of loving kindness, including the mental, the interpersonal, the physical, and the circumstantial. And what's most exciting is that simply playing with mindfulness and meditation as little as once every 12 hours causes our choices, utterances, and deeds to flow, not from calculated contrivance, not from wild scatterness, but instead from love's deeply centered spontaneity. This is the key to loving non-neurotically. This is the key to using the entirety of all the organelles of our central nervous system in the most sustainable way. Having drunk deep of this morning's selection from the Heart of Wisdom Sutra, let us continue our recitation. I want to recapture the momentum. Together, the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, while practicing the deep practice of Prajna Paramita, looked upon the five skandhas and seeing they were empty of self-existence, said, "Hear, Shariputra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, emptiness is not separate from form." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 24. Form is not separate from emptiness. Let's make sure this fits on the page. It does. Whatever is form is emptiness. Whatever is emptiness is form. Copy. Because that's how I roll. The same holds for feeling and appraisal, impulse and awareness. Here, Shariputra, all dharmas are defined by emptiness. not by birth or destruction, purity or defilements, completeness or deficiency. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no appraisal, no impulse, and no awareness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, and no mind. No shape, no sound, no smell, no taste, no feeling, and no thought. No element of perception, from eye to conceptual consciousness. No causal link from ignorance to old age and death, or end of causal link from ignorance to old age and death. No stress, no source, no relief, no path, no knowledge, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, without attainment. Bodhisattvas take refuge in Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, and live without walls of the mind. Without walls of the mind, and thus without fears, we see through delusion and attain nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, also take refuge in Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom. And realize unexcelled, perfect enlightenment. We should therefore know the great mantra of Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom. The great knowledge mantra, the unexcelled mantra. That is odd, is it not? Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3. And insert and layout and 1. There we go. Okay. The mantra equal to the unequaled, which heals all suffering and is true and not false. The mantra in Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, is spoken thus. Gate, Gate, Pada Gate, Pada Samgate, Bodhi Swaha. Gone, gone, completely and perfectly gone to enlightenment, may it be so. May all beings master, resting, resting, completely and perfectly resting in enlightenment. Okay, thank you very much for your patience as I edited while reciting. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For Meditate Like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers, just like you. For the remainder of this morning's or this early morning's live stream together, let us sit and breathe and notice and relax. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 10 minutes or so. The most efficient way for us to gently invite our subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head is for us to touch each index finger to its thumb, and then rest the right hand in the left, palms up in the lap. The easiest way for us to gently invite our subtle energies to coalesce in our chest is for us to touch each middle finger to its thumb and then rest the left hand in the right, with the thumbs touching, in our lap, palms up in our lap. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening recitation, explanation, and practice of Meditate like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.